COVID-19 can be transmitted, so protect yourself and others from getting sick by constantly cleaning your hands with alcohol-based sanitizer or with soap and water. Wash hands after coughing or sneezing, before, during, and after food preparation, before eating, after using the toilet, caring for the sick, when hands are visibly dirty, and after handling animals or animal waste. A COVID-19 prevention tip from the World Health Organization and the Jamaica Information Service.
Set this up, we mean this. Yeah, so you come get your tablet. And all when you left man, you have to come back on me. Know you have to buy one of them your laptop. Best of business, a serious business. We sell all electrical appliances and all of your car accessories. Come a bed stop, you know no problem.
Best Apps Technology, Shop 25, Champion Plaza, Fama, Trelawney. Telephone 876-394-5484. Best Apps, we only deliver the best.
Assistance with reading? Are you an adult who wants to become a better reader? Well, get ready to learn with Teachers Touch Tutoring. Our tutors are certified reading and writing specialists. Call us at 876-517-2332. That's 876-517-2332. Classes available weekdays and on weekends. Teachers Touch Tutoring. Learning today, leading tomorrow.
Amazing. You make my life feel brand new.
Join us on Be Inspired with Shuggy Tosh and DJ Jai
on Feed FM 96.7
every Tuesday between 12 noon and 2 p.m. Jamaican time.
You can also tune in via www.facebook.com/FeedFM 96.7.
You can't afford to miss it. Keep on being inspired on Feed FM.
Jesus, you love me too much, oh. Too much, oh. Too much, oh. Excess love, oh.
So here I am, the controversial Ed Wallace. I'm on Community Buzz every Monday afternoon from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. on Fit FM 96.7. Call me. Our number is 876-482-4944. Let us discuss topics affecting your community. Education, health, community development, infrastructure, and anything else. Remember, Community Buzz, Mondays 3 to 6 on Fit FM 96.7. Your life, your music.
Under the pressures of your life and it tough. Now stay down, mama, time pick it up.
Yes, welcome to another Monday afternoon here on Fit FM Community Buzz, your community affairs program on Fit FM 96.7, your life, your music. I tell you, I feel kind of out of sorts this afternoon, but believe you me, maybe it's because of the weather, because weather folks are they're for. It's not an outer body. Talk about the outer body experience. When was it? Saturday night, I witnessed an experience that I can't believe up to now. If I wasn't there to see it myself. You ever hear about demon possession? Yeah. Have you ever seen the movies with people with demons talking out
Yes,
from the person's body.
Yes.
Believe you me, I think I witnessed that
Did the demon never
on
come cross
Saturday
and come
night.
to you, you know?
No man, I get
and invade
anointed.
you. Oh,
I get anointed by
okay.
by a spiritual person. I don't want to call him a pastor now, but one of my cousins was trying to pray for the guy to get the demons out of him, or at least to calm him.
Yes.
And I was the only person that he could have, well, he felt that he could have called upon to assist him with that. So he put a little oil in my forehead, and then, you know, yeah. So no, seriously, man. And it's one of those who I call my nephews to, you know, it happened to. One of those.
Let me get my Bible and open my Bible.
No, seriously. When we open the Bible, I don't even know what Psalm 25 said. When we open the Bible, and my little cousin said, Uncle Eddie, put it on him, put the Bible on him. So no Bible, no Psalms, no. And
no man, seriously.
I swear,
I know you're a very good
actor.
I know but me know, you know. And a lie, you tell me.
No lie.
The word listening,
and
you know,
when
watching.
When my little cousin prayed at one time, he just the fellow just started vomiting, just puking, and after that, my cousin asked, "Well, how are you feeling now?" It's still in me. And I mean, come and he started talking in the third person.
Yes.
The youth are good youth, another youth may come for, another youth may come for. And him called the person's name who he came for. And one police came, all of that kind of thing. And police for a minute was going to detain my young cousin. I had to speak up. And they decided it may not have been worth the taking down to the station. So they actually assisted him because he was in Martha Brae. It was past curfew.
Yes.
So the police actually assisted him and his family, his wife and little son, to get back home in Hague at that time of the night. So I wanted us, as I mentioned, the police, thank the police for their intervention in that situation there. And I see more and more people in my district coming to me for advice and for help and for all them kind of thing before they get into any entanglements. I don't know what that means, but I'm making myself available to help negotiate any peace that I can because Martha Brae has been a good place in terms of no crime activity and all of that. I mean, refuge to Stuart Castle and a whole lot of other places, but I'm just talking about the place that I live. And the youngsters are good. I mean, some of them people want to label them gangs, but we don't have no gang in Martha Brae. We really don't have no gang.
What eventually happened? Did you exorcise?
No, I don't think that happened because he said he was still and he was restless. He just couldn't stop moving, and when he was refusing the prayer and the psalm and everything, so and with people coming down, and my little cousin was saying to me, Uncle, the people can't stay around here because if they stay here and the spirit actually comes out, they might find refuge in somebody else's person. Mm-hmm. So we can't really do the prayer in such a public area and all that kind of thing. But it was weird.
Like a movie.
Just like a movie. Wow. So my sister was telling me that she didn't want to hear anything about it because she's a Christian and so I'm a Christian. But the truth of the matter is we saw Jesus driving out demons in the Bible, didn't we? Oh, yes. I don't believe in Obi. The religion. But, you know, so that was a piece of thing. So I'm telling you all of that before I say, welcome to Fit FM 96.7. We are on Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, and all the major social media platforms. So you can join us. Anyone, just search for us. You'll find us. We are very available. And this afternoon, our numbers are 876-482-4944. You can run your text and 876-317-1991. So you can use those numbers to get in contact with us. I want to extend special greetings to Mr. Donovan Horton. our farmer this evening. And if you recall, we had talking with Bingy Smith last week, Mr. Taylor from Rada last week. Big up you too. Happy to have had you, and I hope that you'll come back soon. So Donovan is going to continue with the farming, and we're going to hear now from the actual farmer's perspective what is happening out there, at least some of what is happening out there. I want to just big up Dr. Andrea Thorpe too, because some little things are running, the conspiracy theory and stuff running about COVID. I sent her one of those videos and I asked her to comment on it. I got back her comment, and she's still on the same tune, irrespective of what is happening, people. When the vaccine comes around, go take it, because 50%, 40% protection is better than none at all. So I just want to big up Dr. Andrea Thorpe, our Friday. Can I call her a colleague? Yes, Fit FM doctor on a Friday morning. All right. Yes, and on call. She's a doctor on call. Yeah. For birthdays, I want to big up my aunt Joy. I'm not so sure where she's at now. She's kind of a frequent flyer, and sometimes sometimes she's in the Old Harbour here area, and just the whole Wallace family, the whole Wallace breed. Big up, Stacy too. All right, Stacy Morris. Just want to big you up. So Joy, happy birthday to you. God's richest blessing to you. And yeah, my producer is saying a Fit FM birthday. Yeah, man. But the truth of the matter is, when I extend a birthday on behalf of Fit FM most of the time. I specify when I am extending. So it's a Fit FM birthday all the time. And I will add my little bit to it. So Joy, again, God's richest blessings, long life, health, strength, everything there for you. Anniversaries. The anniversary that we're still celebrating all month this month is that of Fit FM, our station, the only station. Fit FM 96.7, your life, your music. A wonderful work in progress. And if you just see how we're blossoming and growing and blossoming, you will be very proud of us, especially if you're from Trelawney. And I myself am very proud to be a part of the Fit FM family. I'm running towards a year now. I think I'm really into a year now, because I came on in the COVID period of March last year. So I want to just thank you again, Julia, for the opportunity, and thank the Fit FM family for the support that I've been getting. And I'm sure I want to thank the listeners who participate and the guests who participate over the period of time, and hope that you'll continue the support. So that's Fit FM. Loss, I don't know of any specific loss for the past week. But I'm certain that people are mourning now, especially with the ban on funerals, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. Excuse me, I'm not so sure what the government is doing at this stage, but we need a little bit of understanding, and I'm going to explain, because we can always criticize and say them should have do this and them should have do that and them shouldn't do this and them shouldn't do that, but it now puts it out there to the administration, to the people in charge, to explain to us some of the whys of what is being done. And I'm going to tell you how I come up to that positioning. So 878 is not a country code. It's not a country phone code. 878 is the number of new COVID cases for yesterday. Again, I have a whole segment on COVID. So we're looking to actually get to that in a moment. So losses, we have no notable loss, but I'm sure people are in pain. We have some shootings that took place over the last week with people dead and all of that. So families are hurting, families are mourning. And some of the things that people are being killed over. In St. Anne last week, a young, ambitious lady And whether or not she's ambitious, a young human female was shot to death by her neighbor over an argument of dogs scattering garbage over the yard. No, it's as simple as you take it, and is very complicated, but we're modern people. This is modern day. We shouldn't have to get to that point over that. I sometimes say to, and you may have heard me with it, saying the reason why Cain killed Abel was because Abel allowed his goats to be eating out Cain's vegetable and so on. So if I'm anywhere near right with that joke or story, if I'm anywhere near right with that story, you can see that the scenario of conflict over domestic animals would have been going on for over 6,000 years. Over 6,000 years. But we need to be able to resolve problems better than that. Again, I call on the JPs. I'd love to talk to a JP. I'd invited Rachel 1 week. Rachel, if you're hearing, if you're listening, or Essence Web, yeah, the invitation is still open for you to come and for us to talk about the kind of things that the justice of the peace should be doing. What does justice of the peace mean? How do they interact with the community? I'm absolutely certain that it's not just signing pictures and signing ID and signing that kind of, and signing documents. The job must be bigger than that. So I'd love to be there. So losses, I'm sorry for your loss if you lost someone over the last week. And Fit FM again extend condolences to you and your family, and we pray that God will send the comforter to just comfort you in your time of loss, in your time of need, and that you will overcome with time. Just hopefully you have good memories of the persons that may have been lost, and so eventually you will be able to smile at those memories. All right, so that's it. Minutes of the meeting. Last week. That's a habit. Minutes of the meeting for last week. Let me just check. Yeah. All right. So, all right, minutes of the meeting. The roadworks continue over North Trelawney. I don't know what is happening in South. I don't know what is happening in the other parts of the country, but certainly North Trelawney is seeing developments in roadworks. All right. Last week we also dealt with Mr. Courtney Taylor in relation to RADA activities and what RADA is doing, the services it offer, and we're going to put it to the test in a little bit when we talk to Mr. Horton. So, you know me, I can't resist. We also spoke to Bingy Smith, Mr. Fernandez Smith, former councillor of the Sherwood Division, and we were getting a little bit more technical with respect to agriculture, the agricultural needs, some of the things we can do. I was a little bit disappointed with what the technology did to us from the point of view of our internet providers and all of that kind of thing. But hopefully we'll get Mr. Smith. Oh, by the way, Bing, if you're hearing me, and we had an issue kind of discussing, you can call me up today after I'm finished with Mr. Donovan Horton, the farmer. All right. So Rockbridge is still outstanding. I'm still looking. I just can't stop. I promised you that I won't stop. Rockbridge is still outstanding, if even a word on Rockbridge. And the road in Refuge and Stuart Castle, especially coming to the station. Oh, my Lord. And I'm driving a low car now because I borrow goods, you know. Yeah? Yeah, for take time. You know, but I mean, I should be taking time anyway. But you know, the road could be better. All right. Yes, Miss Andrea Garwood. Lest we forget, Miss Andrea Garwood and the whole business of the murders and what is going on. I know that case is still on, but in the meantime, I don't know if we can't allow these things in our community to be 90-day wonders, and we need to go to the point now where we're forming some organizations to help us deal and cope with these kind of issues. Tamara Geddes, that girl who was killed, her sister pled guilty. 2 other persons pleaded guilty, and the sister was sentenced to 20 years hard labor. So if that is justice, justice has been served in respect to the sister. 2 other people, her daughters, the sister's daughters, the nieces, right? They are left to be dealt with. Now, last year sometime, we dealt with crime. We dealt with some crime last week too, but for the sake of the minutes, and we're going to deal a little bit more with crime too, but last year sometime, you may remember me on this program commenting on the lady who went into the man's shop somewhere in Stewart Town or somewhere thereabout and stole Lasco milk. All right, you may have remember my commenting on that. And at the same time, in that same period, there was a robbery that took place at, I think it was a JMMB place in Santa Cruz. Right? I think it was a JMMB establishment in Santa Cruz. I'm not sure. And then there was the attempted Appleton robbery round about the same time. All of them happening in the same time. And if you recall, I warned that this was a beginning of SARS, because as we pressed along in the COVID period and work becomes scarce, people losing work and all of that. I think round about the same time too, there were some redundancies, same place in St. Elizabeth there on the sugar estates, right? So as people lose work and as people become more desperate, these robberies and shop break-ins and all of that kind of thing will continue to take place. One of them took place in Manchester too. I can't remember where in Manchester, but it was near the Mile Gully area. Well, we have another one this year, this time where a Portland woman again arrested for shop breaking in somewhere in Portland. And these little things are just coming up and coming up, coming up. I heard the term alternate livelihood. I don't know if that I'm not so sure if that is what alternate livelihood means, but is at some point in time we'll get to really define that. But people are getting more and more desperate now, and things are happening at a faster pace. Sorry for those persons who find themselves at the butt end of this COVID thing and the losses that we're suffering in terms of job and income and all of that. But stealing won't cut it, because the person you're stealing from is suffering too. You know, that's why they're holding their shops and things. So we need to be mindful of that. I want to also look now at what's in the news. Now, the news was dominated by kind of 3 things last week, and one coming into this weekend here. What was happening with the royal family in terms of Meghan Markle and Prince Harry. Then there is COVID, always COVID, and I promise you we're going to get back to a whole lot of COVID after this. And then there was a policeman who was caught in adultery. That is how I want to frame it. A policeman caught in adultery. Yeah? Or you're insisting on camera. Okay, she said on camera. So that became a big deal. And I wonder if we don't have nothing to do. I really wonder if we don't have anything to do. When I saw the government's involvement via the police force in this issue for investigation, I had to wonder if we don't have anything better to do. When I see the issue of the policeman caught in adultery going to the level of the commissioner, the police commissioner weighing in on it, I wonder if the commissioner don't have nothing to do. I hear that him getting 3 more years, and I'm looking at it too. The commissioner is not prepared for this job. Not in my view. I don't know who else shared the view, but my view that he's not prepared for this job. And it's not that he's a bad man or not educated or anything like that. The commissioner, as far as I am concerned, has been able to keep discipline within the police force and is willing to do all of that, as he would have kept order in the army. And so I'm suggesting that his speciality is dealing with people in the army and keeping the army organization together. And I suspect that he was very good at that. That is why he got this job. But the fact of the matter is that he has no experience and he has not grown in the job with respect to the civil responsibility, the police interacting with the rest of Jamaica, serving and protecting. And I have not felt the impact of this particular commissioner. And when I hear that he's getting 3 more years or accepting 3 more years, I think, Commissioner, you need to consider whether or not you shouldn't step down. Right? Again, let me just caveat this by saying that this is not the views of Fit FM. This is Ed Wallace talking. And I'm looking at it from a point of truth. Right? So, Commissioner, you need to consider this particular, when I say the policeman caught in adultery, that is a lower level kind of attention. It's not that you mustn't pay attention to it. It's not that there are not concerns. Right? But it's definitely not a national issue. And so to come out and speak on that issue when you can't speak, I've not heard you speaking on the headline that says 200 people murdered in 52 days. I've not heard it. I have not heard it. If anybody else heard it, just tell me and correct me. I'm willing to take that back. But Commissioner, I may not feel see already. Not for this job. I don't know who is ready for it, but certainly the time that you've been there, you've proven that you're not ready. When Colonel Macmillan came over, at the time when he came over, we saw impact. We don't see none with you. You know, I'm afraid to say I still heal up my friend and one of my mentors, at least from the trade unionist perspective, Dwight Nelson, because when he was in office as Minister of National Security, we saw a dent there that we can refer to and go back to. Now I see another man, Facebook friend of mine. I respect him a whole lot. I see him trying to take the given time when you so I can't cut 2 minutes. Yeah, I see him want to take a Japanese model and the whole business of gun ownership or gun holdership and all that kind of thing. And I'm saying to Mr. Wignall that, listen, we're not. I don't think that Jamaica need to be a platypus with a duck's web feet and what kind of tail and claws like bear and Jamaica need to be Jamaica. So every problem we have, we can't be trying to take a piece of America to deal with it, a piece of the UK, a piece of Australia, a piece of Japan, piece of China, piece of no, it betrays our independence. It betrays our independence. We're supporting a kind of intellectual laziness that must stop. Yes. We're an independent country. And I'm not suggesting that we recreate the wheel. That's not what I'm suggesting. But we need to approach it better. And let me just pause for a moment. We take a break because we're coming down to our first call. I'll come back to it. We take a break. Fit FM 96.7, your life, your music. You're in Community Buzz, the buzz, the buzz, the buzz, the buzz.
And as we fight one another for the power and the glory, the kingdom goes to waste. We the people want to know just where we're going. Right now, we hands are tied behind the back, while certain people, if unbutton, where do we stand? We have too far to go, not to really know just how we getting there. And if we're getting anywhere, we have too much to change, not to know the range of possibility and changeability. Violence and crime is commonplace in these said times. No man walk free. Prophecy come closer to fulfillment in these dread times. Why should this be? And as we fight one another for the power and the glory, Jah kingdom goes to waste, and every drop of blood we taste. I feel we won disgrace, yeah. I feel we won disgrace. Can't build no foundation on a if and but. Are we building a nation or are we building a hut? And every time you ask for some old friend, you hear said just last night, they made a sad, sad end. And if you talk too loud, and if you walk too proud, watch where you lay your head. For all that dread, well dread.
Ernest Smith on your radio, Fit FM 96.7, your life, your music. Yeah. So we fight one another for the power and the glory. Yeah, man. Damien, you online? Donovan, sorry. I want to.
Hello. Yes.
Donovan, I want to welcome you to Fit FM, sir. I want to welcome you to Fit FM. So, listeners, we're talking this afternoon to Mr. Donovan Horton, a farmer doing his work up there in the Wakefield and Duanville area. All right, and Donovan is here to tell us about his farming, his pleasures, his challenges, his support, his non-support, all kind of thing, and make us get a better feel of what is happening to the actual farmer out there in the community. Donovan, Mr. Horton.
Sir Ed, good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon to you, sir. I want you to just take a little bit of a minute to introduce yourself as to what you do, where you're at, and any other thing concerning your bio. And yeah, I'd love that. Could you please go ahead?
Okay, sir. Thank you very much for having me, and good afternoon to everybody online. Donovan Horton, best way to describe me is a very own countryman. And just a bit of correction to you, it's not the Wakefield, it's the Bunkers Hill area.
Bunkers Hill, yes,
that we actually conduct our farming activity in.
Mm-hmm.
And we're now, the name of the company is called Cockpit Country Farms. It was actually started in 2019, just before COVID hit Jamaica. We started in October of 2019.
1 second.
The main crops.
1 second, Donovan. 1 second. Your background is kind of noisy. Is there anything you can do about it?
Hello, sir.
I'm saying that the background is kind of noisy. It's not the worst, but it's distracting. Is there anything you can do about it? Background noise. All right. So I'm not hearing anything now. You still there?
Oh, yes, man. I'm here right now.
All right. We're good now. All right. So you were saying it started just before COVID?
Right. We started in October of 2019. And what we did was to look at a comprehensive plan in terms of our introduction to farming. One thing I should say that farming is actually within my DNA because my grandfather and my father, they were actual farmers over in the D-side area. And they, at the time, cultivated a lot of sugar cane. Now, the fact that sugar is actually dead, and we're now revisiting the whole mandate of farming in the North Trelawney constituent area. And so we took on this ambitious plan to look at it, and we entered it with two demographics in mind: youth in agriculture and women in agriculture. So our group comprises of mostly young people and women, 6-member group. The main crops that we produce, sweet potato, pumpkin, Scotch bonnet pepper, pineapples. And now we're now embarking upon a bolder move to go into fresh vegetables. Right. So it has been quite a bit of a challenge, because my background is not necessarily in farming, coming from a tourism background. But what we did was to apply the principles of management to the whole business in itself. So what we
I'm listening. Yeah, I see. Well, I think the technology is kind of kicking in again. So you're back. We lost you for a minute. You were telling us about your methodology. You were telling us a little bit about.
So what we did was to formulate relationships with stakeholder groups like the JAS in Trelawney, RADA, and equipping ourselves with First and Agricultural Company. These are some of our partners that we, sort of partner up with to gain an insight, knowledge base, and technical skills, and to formulate linkages within the marketplace itself.
You say agricultural company?
First and.
Huh?
First and Agricultural.
Okay. All right. Go ahead. You told me that you established some links, and you called JAS RADA, and you called another group of people.
Yes. So between JAS RADA and First and Agricultural Group, we were able to formulate stakeholder relationships to technical support, marketing support.
Who you call stakeholders?
And of course.
Who you call stakeholders?
Hello?
Who you call stakeholders?
Well, these agricultural groups of JAS.
Oh, okay.
And RADAs. So from a government and a private sector relationship.
Okay, got you.
Right. So, of course, we've had our fair share of challenges. Climate change is definitely a big issue right now. And wherein we used to get lots and lots of rainfall, we're now being impacted by large continual drought programs. So we now have to be putting in, sort of drought mitigation measures in terms of irrigation. And one thing that I must say, and I must give credit to Ms. Tova Hamilton. I'm not speaking politics right now, but
when you make such a declaration that you're not speaking politics, you're speaking politics.
She is a constituency. She is a constituency representative. So we've been getting
say it and say it loud then.
And
say it and say it loud.
So Ed, her vision certainly is in line with where our vision is right now. We are looking at redrafting the narrative in terms of agriculture, the persons behind agriculture, and also looking at a strategic move in terms of agriculture in North Trelawney. Historically, we're coming from a sugarcane driven activity, which is a single crop. So my grandfather used to tell me that the person who feeds you also has the ability to starve you. And if you believe that analogy, you understand that our dependence on the other parishes across Jamaica for simple things like fresh vegetables.
Yes.
We're highly dependent on it.
Yes.
So we are now at Cockpit Country Farms. We're looking into how we can break into. There's absolutely no reason why the same crops grown in St. Elizabeth can't be grown in Trelawney.
I say that too.
And Trelawney North.
I say that too.
Right? So accumulatively, between these two estates that was here, we Hamden and Longpan, estimated 6,000 acres of land. And if we should strategically look at embarking upon a program to introduce a diverse agricultural offerings, we would be in a much better position. I mean, Ed, Julia, if you realize tourism is actually on a big growth in Trelawney. And if you should do the research, how many of us are actually selling vegetables to the hotels in Trelawney? Not many.
Not many.
Everything comes from outer parish.
As a matter of fact, the one man that I know in Trelawney selling vegetables to the hotel is actually
Adrian.
from Dominican Republic.
Right. It's just a few persons, Ed. And we have a large land holdings. Just this morning I was driving from Palma to D side.
1 second, I'm going to make you come back to that. When you say we have a large land holdings, what kind of acreage are you currently doing?
When we started in Bungersville, we didn't want to be overly ambitious. So we started with just 2 acres to test, try it out, and to ensure that we didn't bite off too much than we can manage. So we are now embarking upon a very bold move now to go over into Duanville, where we will set up a greenhouse, a very large greenhouse, and up to 5 acres.
Okay, hold that
to start off with.
I'd cut you off from the story just this morning you were coming from. I cut you off from that story. I'm sorry. You can.
Yes, I was driving across from Falmouth over into D side. And just on both sides of the road, there's large parcels of lands that used to farm sugarcane. It's just sitting there.
Yes, yes.
So access to these lands, whether it be lease arrangement or cooperative arrangement. Now, wisdom will tell us that farmers don't like the cooperative route, but we are not in a position to do it on our own and to do it unless it's not a subsistence movement that we're doing. We need to be doing at a big macro scale. Vegetables and cash crops along with sweet potatoes, pumpkins to sustain the local demand and the overseas demand. I mean, certainly COVID teaches us that the dependence on tourism is not sustainable.
That is a lesson we learned.
It is not sustainable. I work in the tourism industry and I know what the fallout has been. Luckily, I don't know if it was by divine intervention why we started the farm. So we were able to fall back and to know equally excited to be pushing it.
Early start.
So we are encouraging persons, and we've been working closely with the JAS and, in terms of some pipeline projects. I'm not at liberty to say right now, but it is working with groups. I mean, another challenge is finding good and consistent labor. You cannot find persons to work. Sorry to say. I mean, there's a lot of persons say, boy, they're unemployed, but persons aren't interested in working on a farm anymore. So that is one of the challenge. Drought condition is one of the challenge. We have researched the market, and we've found persons who's eagerly awaiting Jamaican products to be exported overseas.
All right, I want to pause.
Sweet potatoes.
I want to pause you again.
Scotch bonnet.
I want to I'm going to come back to the sweet potato, the Scotch bonnet, and everything, but I want to pause you again on the labor issue. I don't want us to gloss over it so quickly. In your look, in your strategic look at farming, and I think I've been trying to get people to stop using the term farming right now and use the term agriculture more mostly. But in your look at finding labor for farming, is it possible that part of the problem that we're having with farming, agricultural labor, is that we don't want the nowadays people don't want to do it the old way. We've been doing it the old way for centuries, for decades, and we've been having technological changes which we're not seeing on these farms. So the younger folks are not attracted to it. Is that perhaps one of the issues we're facing?
It is, but you have to understand. Let us look at
Machete
North
and
Carolina
fighting kind of done
as a case study.
Mm-hmm.
Machete and file and subsistence farming,
Mm-hmm.
and the persons who utilize the new technology, these are very large farms, and they're not open for persons to see them.
Mm-hmm.
But the internet, social media,
Mm-hmm.
it has brought everybody closer together than we can imagine.
Mm-hmm.
And if any time of the day you can pump in and you do a research, you can see. And we have formulated a merger of the old methods
Mm-hmm.
and a marriage of the new technologies.
Mm-hmm.
So we've not thrown out the old methodology. We're still utilizing the lunar calendar as to when is the best time to plant underground crops and above ground crops. And that, if I tell my grandfather, say, a rubbish him and talk about, he would chase me out of the farm. So we've been utilizing that much. But of course, we're utilizing, we're guided by soil testing technology. So even before we decide to plant a sweet potato, we do soil tests to find out the pH balance in the soil, to know what nutrient needs.
Last week.
Right. So it's almost like designing a nutrition program for a baby. We're designing nutrition, and with first hand, we've been able to design the nutrition needs for the sweet potatoes, so that we get the best yields. And
you're at chemistry.
So it's not a guess and spell anymore.
You're at chemistry, and that is good. But the mechanization part of it, what I'm seeing when I search the internet, I'm seeing, especially coming out of India and China, some single engine plows and single engine machines that can do farm work, and they seem very efficient. Have we started to look in that kind of direction?
We're nowhere near there as yet, Ed, because the fairy tale of agriculture, especially for us in this side of the country, wherein it was it was a mainstay, and now tourism came in and it was a darling for everybody. So we are rescripting. We're actually just started to rescript. We have water, we have land, we have the technology, and the internet is there for anybody. You can do a Zoom or a YouTube intro as to how to plant it.
What about funding?
So now that we have all of the ingredients on the table.
What about funding?
Now that we got all the ingredients. What are you saying, Ed?
What about funding? Money
is critical. Yeah, it is highly critical, because to do it out of pocket, from our experience, I can tell you that, boy, if Julia should ask me that, have I made $1 million? No, and no. But if you look at the startup of any business, in the norming and the performing and the storming, we're going through all of the phases of what the books will tell you how the business startup. But funding is critical. I mean, I remember as a child, there used to be agricultural banks. Where are they now? The agricultural banks that used to be in all of the farming areas. Where are they in Trelawney? I don't think we have any. Brownstone is the closest one.
To us right now. Isn't there one in Clarkstown? The one in Clarkstown don't exist same way.
No, man, that is no longer in Clarkstown, man.
My.
No more. Brownstone.
my.
So, funding is critical. Very critical, because farming is not cheap. It's never cheap. Not cheap. So you have to be very careful too. That's why we're saying that the fairy tale of it and the novelty of it, everybody say, let's run into it. you can lose money as well as make money if you're not careful what you're doing.
Especially
And
with
it costs. It is a
especially
highly
with
costly affair.
global warming, especially with the changes
Yes,
in weather.
especially that. And one thing for sure that I'll encourage any farmer right now getting into it, ensure that you put in an irrigation or you start to think about a irrigation program for your farm, because whereas we used to be contented that okay, the rainy season runs from May to November. See with that in November, more rain because I lost sorrel in the field, and because of that intense 3 days rain, we lost everything in the field because it burned up the entire bed of sorrel.
And at the end of the day,
So
you still don't
it
have
is
water,
real.
did you?
It is so real. But of course, water harvesting is critical.
All right, 1 second. As you say, water harvesting. Last year we had a group
man, so you have to harvest the water.
1 second.
Look at the irrigation program.
Donovan. Yeah. Last year we had a group coming in from UWI.
Yes, sir.
We had a group from UWI that came in. You remember, Julia? We had a group from UWI that came in, and that group was working within the Duanville area, and I think, yes, on a water harvesting project. Did you have any contact at all with that group of students? Because they had a good program.
This is where the agencies of government and the elected representatives, through their mandate, will bring technologies like these to the farming community. When they sit down to look at policies governing the fallout of sugarcane, it's dead. Looking at alternatives rather than tourism all by itself. And of course, there's a linkage. There's a link between tourism and agriculture. There's a big link. I mean, just recently, we were reading that the harmonization project is now back on stream. That, when I read about that, Julia and Sir Ed, it excites me because I'm saying, wow, a mega project of that nature means one thing and one thing only. We have how much room stock in the parish, and how many of us are actually selling. And these are the discussions that we really need. One, we cannot go to these hoteliers and say, you have it today, tomorrow you don't have it. We need to set up big farms and work in partnership with the different groups across the different communities. You know, farmers don't like to work in a group setting, but we have to change. We have to change it to ensure that we get in it, because we cannot compete by ourselves or in isolation. You know, we have to at least try to work it with each other.
For the last couple of days,
to get it.
For the last couple of days, we have been focusing on International Women's Day. And you have outlined to me that you have a number, and today is International Women's Day. And you outlined to me, that you have some women in your group. You're a group of 6, and you have some women in that group. Tell me about the makeup.
What we have done when we sat down to create Cockpit Country Farms, and please note the name. It is a move towards preserving Cockpit Country. And this is one of the methodology wherein we are providing freshly harvested crops from the fields. So we have a group of 6, 4 males and 2 females. Anna K. Campbell. Today is International Women's Day, so I'd like to say Happy Women's Day to Anna K. Campbell and Kristen Campbell.
Sisters.
All right, and these are the women who are a big part of our program. You know, who has been right there with us, putting on their water boot, grabbing the machete, and we get out there early in the morning.
Anna K. and who? Anna K. Campbell and who else? Damien. I mean Donovan. Sorry. Donovan.
Yes, sir.
Anna K. Campbell and who else?
I didn't get that, Ed.
You said Anna K. Campbell, and who was the other person? Another Campbell. You're still
Christian.
not here?
Christian Campbell.
Okay.
Yeah, Christian Campbell.
All right.
Not related, but they just share the same surnames.
Mm-hmm.
They share the same. But it is an exciting period for us, Sir Ed and Julia. It is highly exciting. And I never used to comprehend why my grandfather used to wake up so early to go until I started doing it and understanding the soil and the movements of the soil. And you know, my daughter saw me going out one morning when it was raining, and she said, "Daddy, why are you going out? It's raining." And I said to her, "Well, as a farmer, you cannot watch the sun or the rain." And the satisfaction that I got from it at the end of it was absolutely phenomenal. And we're here and we're putting ourselves, and we're using social media too, you know, Sir Ed and Julia. We're using social media. You know, if you Google, if you go on Instagram, cockpitcountryfarms.com, you will see us.
You have a Facebook page? You have a Facebook page?
We have a Facebook page. We have an Instagram page. I'll send it to you. And you know what we're trying to do is to make it hip and trendy. And I mean, just last week we hosted Debbie Bissoon and her sister from Two Chicks on a Farm. And you know, we cook out. We do a big cookout on the farm.
Okay, be careful of COVID though.
No. When I said a big cookout, it was just a small group, man, within the regulation, within COVID protocol.
Okay. All right.
We were within the protocol.
So you said the women are there side on side. Is there a specific plan to bring women full force into your cockpit country grouping?
Of course, the original partners in it were two phenomenal women, and they didn't back down, and they have been, honestly, they've been a tower of strength, because when sometimes we decided to slack off, it is these women who grab us by the water boot and said no.
Okay. Yeah. We just grab us by the, I started getting fearful.
Okay.
You hear me, Donovan?
Right. Yes, man. So
when you say grab us by the I got a little bit fearful a while ago. I'm happy you say water boat.
but the thing is, Julia and Ed, if we don't take a concerted effort, especially for us in North Trelawney, to realistically look at farming, our position is ideal. We are blessed with lots of water. Access is right there. The highway runs right through the constituency. We have large parcels of land, and the marketplace is right there. So what is to stop us?
True.
What is it to stop us from actually? But it's just to do it in a manner that it makes sense. We cannot look at it from a subsistence approach, where
so we must
you
have
plant
skill
today and tomorrow you don't.
We must have skill and consistency. You're not hearing me?
Yes, man. Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely. We have to, and that's a mission and that's a vision. And you know, there are spin-off to it in the tourism sector.
Quickly,
where we're looking towards much more.
Quickly, Donovan. Quickly. The question I want to ask, you know, because you kind of mentioned it, is the environmental concerns. You talk about saving the cockpit country. Now, what I want you to tell me, when you say environmental concerns, what do you mean? Because there is also a school of thought that agriculture creates a destabilization of the soil, and when it rains, you have significant erosion of soil erosion. So how are those considerations dealt with?
Well, sir, the last 20 such years of my working life, I've had the benefit of working in both sides of the parish, across cockpit country, in South Trelawney area, with the yam farmers and down in this location. The data is a broad scale data which suggests that. But where is the data which proves and pinpoints that yes, farmer X in North Trelawney constituency, based on his or her agricultural activity, is having this environmental impact? We're mindful of the environment, absolutely critically mindful, because if one thing that we're certain about is the fact that if we're not working in tandem with the environment, it's not going to be a part of our long-term sustainability program.
I hear your argument, but there seems to be a level of disingenuousness with respect to the relativity of various impact. So you say the small farmer can do it because their impact is not so significant, but the big farmer can. What is with this? Because I think the concept or the thing is to get a principle going, right? So whether you're a big farmer, small farmer, medium-sized small farmer, then we're looking at environmental protection through and through. Why the disparity? Why are you? You hear me?
Well, very important. Yes, man, I'm hearing you. Very important point and very good analysis of the whether they are micro or a macro farmer.
Right.
But in the end, I have lived and I've grown in this location where I've seen agriculture taking place for over 30 plus, 50 plus years. And the sustainable approach was so designed into the agricultural program. Because, for example, the type of crops that you plant, nutrient fixing crops, the Jamaican red peas, the cowpeas, which aids in the nutrient fixation of the soil so that the intercropping, the soil erosion measures. But unfortunately, we have not seen impact or any great environmental impact to date based on the onslaught of agriculture in this constituency.
All right, I'm going to take a short break.
Farmers in South Trelawney who farm along the steep slopes.
I'm going to take a break, Donovan. I'm going to take a short break and I'm going to come back to it. Listeners, viewers, you're listening to Donovan Horton,
absolutely,
farmer in Bunkers Hill, Duanville, doing a whole lot of good work there and doing modern agriculture because he's taking a strategically modern approach to the whole business of farming. We'll get right back to him on Community Buzz. You're listening to Fit FM 96.7, Your Life, Your Music. We'll be back in a minute.
Do you operate a small business in Trelawney? Well, talk to us. Be a proud community partner of Fit FM 96.7. Let us help you reach your target audience for an unbelievably low cost. Contact our sales office today at 876-544-0791, 876-377-3442, or email us at fitfmsales@gmail.com. Fit FM 96.7, Trelawney's radio. Your life, your music.
Yes, you're listening to Fit FM 96.7 in Duncan's Trelawney. I'm your host, Carleen Street, inviting you to join me every Sunday at 5:30 p.m. for We Lickle But with Talawa, a program highlighting Jamaicans who are making significant contributions abroad and their impact on our communities. That's We Lickle But with Talawa, every Sunday at 5:30 p.m. right here on Fit FM 96.7, Your Life, Your Music.
Yes, you're back on Community Buzz, your community affairs program with Ed Wallace on Fit FM 96.7, your life, your music. We're talking to farmer Donovan Horton from out of North Trelawney. Let me just leave it there because he's doing Bunkers Hill, he's doing Duanville, and I'm sure I'm sure he will be spreading out a little bit more. All right, so I didn't mean to put you on the defense with the environmental question, just to say that we must always be aware because for is just a few raindrops per year that erodes a rock down to nothing. So it's just the long-term impact from incremental movements in agriculture that I was asking you about. All right. So you said the environmental issues be taken into consideration. You look at the water. No, rather, Donovan, you're there with me. Donovan, you're there?
Yes, man. I'm right here. I'm right here, sir Ed.
Okay.
Right here. Lively, entertaining, community beat. Fit FM.
You like it. All right, cool. All right. Hear me now. Last week we had here Mr. Courtney Taylor from RADA, and he seemed to have been relating to us that his organization has taken the position that they're going to be focusing on 8 crops in Trelawney overall, 8 crops. And I wondered, because I hear you mention pepper, hot pepper, Scotch bonnet pepper, and sweet potato. But what but he was trying to push us in the direction now also of Irish potato, sweet yam, and I hear sweet yam does well in that area that you're at. Sweet yam, ginger. Now he also said strawberry, and I think 2 others because it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 here, but it was 8 crops that he gave me. But from this list, strawberry, ginger, pepper, sweet yam, and Irish potato. How we stay in that area, in the areas that you're working with these kind of crops, with all your soil testing and everything?
Well, these are, and I'm hope. I never question the technocrats in agriculture because, as far as I'm concerned, I'm a new entrant into it.
Mm-hmm.
But anything that we are moving into, we must see at the end result of it marketing, our markets, available markets. Far too long, we have the shotgun approach. I've seen plenty of my friends plant lots of crops, turmeric. At the end of it, people say they'd rather leave it in the soil. Rather leave it in the soil. And these introduce crops, quite noble. Of course, there's always a need for Irish potatoes. But the discussion is not, and this is just my opinion, and I stand to be corrected. It has to be one that is driven by you're walking with me all the way, not just 2 workshops and that's it, and I'm left to fend on my own. We need Liverpool mantra is you'll never walk alone. So we need to get this back into it, and all stakeholders have to be in on it. And at the end result of it, the marketing.
Are you suggesting that you would want more extension services, and what kind, if so? Are you suggesting?
One thing that we have done, Sir Ed, is that anything that we plant, we know where we're gonna sell it, and not just
I see what you mean.
Small, but large volumes.
Okay.
So until somebody can come to me and said, plant X, you're gonna sell back X to this, then I am wary as to how I'm gonna jump out.
I see what you mean.
To run with these new introduced.
But
of course,
as is
I am
your right
open,
as an investor.
We're open.
As is your right as an
I didn't
investor.
get that, Ed.
As is your right as an investor. You need to see where return on investment is coming from.
Of course, of course. And these are, I mean, I have sat in many meetings with many farmers groups, JS groups, and the lament has always been the market. I mean, agro-processing. These are longer term vision. Cold storage, dryers, all of these to get back, because we are sitting in the epicenter of where the development of the country is taking place. Trelawney and its environs.
Damien,
we're sitting.
You just reminded me. Donovan. Sorry, I keep saying Damien. Damien sent me a text today, and that's why. Yeah, Donovan, you're laughing. In physics, well, when I did physics, the description of work or the definition for work would have been a force of 1 Newton moving a mass of 1 kilogram, 1 meter. So you're suggesting to me now that force is being added to a load, but you're not getting no distance out of it. Therefore, work is not being done.
Well,
you're not related.
I leave it to draw a conclusion, sir. I'll leave it to draw the conclusion.
No, but
I put it out there, and I leave. I'll leave it as it is out there. Mark you, we're here, and thanks to the support staff of RADA and Mr. Getting, the extension officer in our area, and talking even to farmers themselves. I mean, every month when I go to JS meeting, there's a remarkable story. There's someone who is there to tell a story. So where those who have walked before me, I am inheriting that legacy, and I am coming. It's almost like we are a hybrid. Our group is almost what we call it, Ed and Julie, a hybrid now. We're taking the best of both worlds. We are technologically driven, social media savvy, all of that, and the group also a good mixture of youth and women, and also learning from the persons before us. What we have created now is an hybrid of what the future should be looking like, and it's highly, the passion. I cannot say it no more.
All right, if
it's hard work, I'm not saying the challenges aren't there.
Yeah, man, I do backyard gardening, and it is not something, if you don't have the passion for it, it's not something that you can follow. But even in my little backyard gardening, every morning I wake up just to look at my plants, just to cut off some banana leaf, clean up the trees, that kind of thing. So it really requires a kind of passion. But if you were to lay down a template for another group,
right,
just show us some of the elements that you would put into that template for us to start another farming group like yours.
Okay, well, certainly partnership, stakeholder relation, and linkages. We need that, and not just the technocrats, but also other groups outside of the parish that you can liaise with. Secondly, ensure that you set it up like a business model. It's register, formulate, registering with RADA, registering with JAS, register it as a business. Draft your strategic plan. Then the technical support, who you will need to assist you, the RADA technical field support. First and AdChem, they are out there in the field with agronomists, doing soil tests, guiding you as to say, this is it. Zoom. I mean, thank God, COVID came, and now we don't have to be going to Kingston or RADA boardroom for a meeting. You can sit right there in your car, in your living room, and there's a Zoom. We have done so much Zoom training in crop production, nutrition care, pest management. And I said, whoa, I didn't go to CASE. But now I can discuss with Ed Wallace and Julia on Fit FM.
Yes, that's what I mean.
We're beneficiaries of a wide pool of information that's out there. And thirdly, have a budget, have a cost of production. You know, far too long you put in money. When we go out there, I am owed right now by Cockpit Country Farms. So every day that I go out there to work, even though we're paying other people, I have to pay myself, but the company will pay me later. So we do a cost of production. So right now, Cockpit Country Farms holds me, but I'm willing to wait. I put in an equity and I'm waiting. And so with that in mind, and then look, investigate your markets. Before you plant, please just investigate where you're gonna sell this and who you're gonna sell it to, and the dynamics of the sale. Armor yourself with people who have done this before, so that you don't underprice yourself or overprice yourself out of the market. Critical. The information of what is the cost per pound, and then you talk about crop nutrition. How much poundage of sweet potato you can get from an acre of land. And if you fall below it, then you know that something went wrong. So that you're not losing your target or you're falling too far away from your target. And of course, the whole business, all of us did a bit of business development in high school or in college. So the same approach can be replicated to farming.
Yeah, true.
Same approach. Very same template, you tailor fit it. And just love what you do, man. Just love it. I mean, you cannot. I remember my dearly deceased brother. I went my first day on the farm. I went there in cargo shorts and slippers. He looked at me and said, "You're crazy. You think a sweet boy business this?" He said, "Man, go home and trade that in for a water boot and jeans." So my whole rethinking the whole process. People love the end result, but it is a journey. It is like an absolute journey, wherein heartache and mistakes. And so you come out, But you see, just before we go, I just want to put it out.
We're not going yet because there's one topic we need to get to.
In North Trelawney.
Go ahead.
Hello?
I'm saying we're not going to go yet. Finish your point, but I have another one.
Okay, good. Absolutely. Good. So in North Trelawney, we really need to redraft the script. So sugarcane is dead, and a few people are doing a little this, a little that. And if you should ask, what amount are we putting out? We're uncertain as it is right now. But here we have the glorious opportunity. The fact that sugar, finally we can say it's buried, it's gone. Nobody, if you're going into it, should be looking at doing no less than 2 acres of farming. Anything underneath that, you're probably going to be wasting your time. So here we have the critical opportunity right now to look at it, what works best, what grows best, and guided by soil testing, technical support, water and irrigation, and then we get it out there. Land is here, man. I dig out guinea grass out of my farm last week, and I was like, wow, look at that. Controlling your weed.
Yeah.
So the opportunity is quite.
Let me just.
There's another program that we're trying to introduce. We're trying to introduce it, and it is a borrowings from RADA.
A lady,
backyard gardening. Everybody.
A lady is listening to you, Donovan. A lady is listening to you, and she's saying, big up Fit FM, big up the program and all of that kind of thing. I just want to heal up Miss Eunice Stewart, listening on Facebook. I know you're there with us, so big up and thank you. Bingy Smith again, thank you. Bingy, see, is another farmer we have on the program here. We are talking to Mr. Donovan Horton from up in Bingy, Donovan, Bingy.
Okay.
Counselor for doing available. Mr. Alfred
Listen, man.
Williams, I hear you there, Mr.
Julia,
Alfred
and
Williams.
we are willing to work with anybody and everybody.
Yeah. And you know, I'm going to come to a little bit of that. I'm going to come to a little bit of that. But first, please, very, very important, I want you to talk to me about Pretty Lastney.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Fortunately, and I hope I'm not jumping the gun. Fortunately, we've not had that issue as yet.
Plead the blood of Jesus
in
about that.
the locations that we're in. I know it is a tumultuous activity in the sector, but fortunate to us because when we went into Bunkersville, and that's where I grew up, so it was no strange location to me. That's where I spent my up to high school years. That's where I born, grew.
All of Charles Gallimore land.
All of that.
All of Charles Gallimore
all
land.
of my childhood memories is there. So when we went in, it was an easy fit for us. But what we have done is to work alongside the different persons doing farming. We're discussing the challenges. One of the challenges was, finding labor, and of course, pay their larceny. So all of us became watchmen in our farming district.
Yeah, that sounds right.
But one of the things that to mitigate it, we decided that I don't know if you should, and of course you must know about it. The quality of the workforce and the consistency was killing us. So what we have now decided and we started doing is a day for a day. That worked when my grandfather was alive.
Oh, yes.
So we are now re-engaging that, which is a day for a day. So these are programs. And also, we started setting up what is called a Jamaican seed bank. Let me explain what that is. The seed bank include cowpeas, red peas, gungo peas, corn, pumpkin. These are the native strain, because with the introduction of new varieties, you ultimately see your native food palette going away. So we started collecting and pooling what is called a bank, where we will store our native strain and ensure, take for example the corn. We have a lot of sweet corn all about now. But that, remember that corn that you could roast?
Yeah, man.
And you play that little game.
Yeah, man.
Yes, man. We are now creating a storehouse because we want to ensure that when my daughter tastes it, that spice and that quality. Julia, here you're laughing.
Yeah, man, she's laughing.
we still have that. So we're creating a what is called a national, a Jamaican seed bank, a native seed bank.
You see, the seed bank idea.
We cannot allow
the seed bank. The seed bank idea is a very wonderful idea because I don't know. I don't know if you remember when Roger Clark was Minister of Agriculture at one time. Came to Hague show, and at that time, even before Switzerland announced its own seed bank in the mountain of Switzerland, I was talking to Roger Clark about developing a seed bank for Jamaica because we know, so when them non-indigenous seed, them foreign seed, they come and you plant them one time and them kill out your crop. After a while, then start put up the prices of their seeds coming to you, and so when your food die out.
Thank you very much, Ed.
Right, so so we need a national effort in regard to the seed bank. Really, I even wanted callaloo, okra, and all them kind of things.
I started the program this afternoon. I started the program this afternoon by saying, which was what my grandfather said, the very man who feeds you also has the potential to starve you.
In fact,
annihilate right at the footstep what you just said.
In fact,
because we cannot allow our native.
Is Lekem Samacha here with it? That says the man who feeds you own you. That is how Dr. Lekem Samach would have put it. The man who feeds you own you. So I don't lie. That's no lie.
Yes, man.
Yeah.
It is real. It is absolutely real.
So
we have started pooling together as a group. We're collecting and we're storehousing it.
All right, I get that one, but
we're storehousing it to ensure that future generations and for future use, we have it available. I am not against new crops coming in, but I am vigorously against killing out what I am accustomed to and what I'm used to, what I grew up on.
You have to be. And we're going to talk a little bit more about those concepts, but I'm still not sure that I got the answer.
So that is there. And also,
wait a second. Donovan. Go ahead. Go ahead, Donovan. Go ahead. Because I was going to say to you.
So the next steps. So go ahead.
All right. What I wanted to
go ahead. Go ahead. No problem.
What I wanted to bring you back to is the method of mitigating predial larceny. All right. You told me about the day for a day. I just want to hear a little bit more how you deal specifically with predial larceny.
Okay. Fortunately, we've not been.
That is what
we've
you
not
said.
Suffered from it as yet, but it is always a potential risk.
What's the plan?
It is always a potential risk.
What's the plan?
And what we have done is that we farm. The groups become the watchmen of that local area, because where the agricultural activity takes place is almost like an agricultural district.
Okay.
Nothing else takes place there except agriculture.
Boy.
So we've formalized alliances with everybody who works in that location, which is just a handful of us. I mean, what used to be a mainstay of the community, over time, the socio-economic conditions has put farming down. So those of us who work in that location will become each other's keeper. And it is not, I must say, it is not a brazen problem in the Bongazil area that much. It's not wide scale. I'm not saying it doesn't exist, but it is not a brazen situation. And I guess we will continue to discuss and talk with other persons who are impacted by this and to see what we can do. I mean, thankfully, well, the predial larceny unit is basically located in South Trelawney.
Yes, I recall.
Regular patrol in the area, and we just have to continue the discussion, Ed. It's just reducing, I would say, for the most part, because I don't think it's something that we'll ultimately get rid of.
Okay.
But it's just to reduce the impact that you don't go the next day and your entire field or your cattle or your whatever livestock you have is gone.
Let me just big up Bunkers Hill. Let me just big up Bunkers Hill and big up the principal of the all-age stroke primary school over there. Very good friend of ours. Donovan, you know who I'm talking about, right? So just big up.
And she's a great stakeholder in the community.
Okay, cool. All right. I wonder if I should draw you in this. The last election for the JAS executive was politically divisive. All right? Is politics impacting any at all on farming? Who gets to farm? Who gets a like? Or who withdraw their support for farming because their politics is not operating now? Have you seen any such thing?
Well, I've started.
You can say no comment. You can say no comment.
No, man, I'm gonna jump right in. And this is a very open and frank discussion. But we started our business in October of 2019, and the very first thing that we did was to liaise with RADA and the JAS. And I must say the support from both agencies and also the support from the JAS body in terms of linkages, in terms of support, and it also embodies what the newly elected member of parliament is.
I was about to tell you.
Vision also for
I was about to tell you. I was about to tell you that your language.
Agriculture.
I was about to tell you that your language seemed very familiar. That linkage and your language seemed very. If you know what I mean.
No, man, absolutely, and where credit needs to be laid, we will forever lay it. And I mean, I have had plenty discussions with both groups, and based on what our vision is and what their vision is, it is in line with our future. I am a Trelawney man, Ed. I went away to school and I came back. I went away and I came back. I have no desire to live outside of the parish. I love this parish. I'm a consummate Renaissance Trelawney man, and you know, this is where I grew up, and I want the best for the parish. I walk in the town. I've done a lot of work in tourism. Most of the persons who do the walking tours in Falmouth, I was one of the persons who trained them based on my information and skill set. So when I'm not talking from an outsider perspective. I have invested. This is where my life is. I love the parish. I remember my days, and everybody who went away to school outside of the parish, and the first thing I said, "Where are you from?" Trelawney. Oh, bush. Yeah. I am from the bush. And it's a beautiful bush. I start to tell them about the cockpit country and all of this, and then people step back. But what we're saying is, yeah, I can see Julia smiling.
Yeah, man.
So
she is indeed. She is.
It's not politics. It is a multi-stakeholder approach, which involves politics to get the mission en route.
No, but you see, what I was asking, and this is my final question, you can respond to it and then wrap up. All right, what I was asking is that in our politics in Jamaica, we practice a very competitive Westminster-style politics. And we work when our party is in power. Some of us work when our party is in power and then drop hand when our party is not in power just to see failure coming through. And so I was wondering now, given the divisive nature of the last election in JAS, if the organization has been affected by people pulling out since that election, are being more enthused about the whole thing, the whole business of farming.
Well, there is, you see, legacies of people's actions will suggest that. One thing that I am certain is that where we are right now.
Donovan, sum
we are right now.
Donovan, sum up, because you're too diplomatic. You're too diplomatic. So sum up. You're too diplomatic. Sum up. Please sum up, sir. And come off a Julia radio. You're listening to Fit FM 96.7. Your life, your music. And we are with Donovan on the farmer, friend of the producer.
I think you need to bring. I think we need to continue this, Julia, I am more than happy to come back again.
And we will. We'll plan another
I am more than happy to come back again at any time.
All right.
But quite frankly, we are looking. We're looking towards the future, Ed. I am looking towards down the road.
I tell you
my vision is not set in my rear view. I'm looking straight ahead.
Big up some people and go on. Just big up some people and go on. Just big up some people and go on.
I can tell you that Cockpit Country Farms is so energized. They are all listening in right now, we will be working with anybody and everybody.
All right. I feel like I want to join the group. So I thank you for stopping by. No, man, it's true. I thank you for stopping by with us.
Yes, man.
All right, and you are welcomed here again because Julia is already saying yes. She can't stop shaking her head. We thank you, and I hope our listeners enjoyed this interview as we have here in studio. And again, you're listening to Community Buzz on Fit FM 96.7, Your Life, Your Music, with Ed Wallace. And our conversation has just ended with Donovan Horton, farmer extraordinaire. Yeah, man, big business, man. Thanks once again, Donovan. All right, take good care.
Thank you very much, Ed. Julia, thanks much.
All right, cool.
Come on and tune me. I said you're riding, cause this your session is vital. Check C, come on and bite me. I said you're roping, cause this your reading is vital. And it's a cool running. Sugar and spice in a cool running. Just rock with your DJ all night long. I say now, cool running. Follow this jockey, play your favorite song in a ropey. Come on and tune me. I said to ride.
One in the wheel, tune in. Fit FM 96.7, Your Life, Your Music, and every Monday afternoon, 3 to 5:30, Community Buzz, your community affairs program. I had one of my best interviews this afternoon with Donovan. Believe me, very, very good interview, very informative, very cordial, very friendly. I mean, everything just work out. I showed you. All right. I tell you, man. So, and again, back to back, as she said, with Bingy Smith, Fernandez Smith. Bingy, remember, you know, if you want to call, give me a call. I'm going on my little COVID thing now. But me don't want to forget what I say. The commissioner of police should never have nothing to do with that policeman caught in adultery in the car. Him should have leave it alone. A lower level things that in the police organization. Him should have never get there. Yeah, him should have never get there. Even if the police officer is supposed to be disciplined for some charge, that too small an issue to involve the commissioner of the police to speak on. Him should have leave that alone. 200 people in 52 days. Don't forget that and counting, because it got more since that report. 8 shot up in St. James over the weekend. Whole heap of shooting that take place. Whole heap of criminality that take place. Oh gosh, man. We have not seen something that we can call me no business what nobody wants to say. We have not seen anything that somebody can call a crime plan. Right? Because you can't plan for crime after the fact. That don't make sense. Strictly after the fact. That don't make sense. You have to have some, what I call, addressing of the leading indicators towards crime. And so people like Donovan, who I just spoke to, open with this group of 6 women and youngsters and himself and all of that. We need to see more of that, more support for that. Free up the land. Free up the land and make the youngsters them get land for plant. Make them get land for do agriculture, whether it be animal husbandry or crop propagation. You know, line up the seed bank. We have whole heap of things to do. Yeah. So I don't know. We have some priorities. Well, we're kind of wrong. All right. So that is that. And police commissioner, I don't feel that you're the man for the hour. Me personally, this is Ed Wallace. Don't feel that you're the man for the hour. I believe that you will do very well in the army. I have no doubt you were doing very well there. But the police force is a different creature, right? You can keep order in the army, but when it comes to the police force have to deal with people outside of their organization. They are meant to serve and protect the communities and work with the communities, and working with communities different from working with soldiers. And while you have kept order in the police force for the most part, Mr. Commissioner, I do not feel your impact out there in the communities, in the wider Jamaica. And that's, as far as Gump would say, that's all I have to say about that. Life is like a box of chocolate. All right, so COVID now. Begin with my last item on this COVID thing. The COVID statistics thing, it's a killer. The stats for yesterday, the numbers for yesterday, new cases, 878. And Saturday, 723. On Friday, 527. And before that, we had some numbers in the 300s and so on, some 200. And what I'm saying about this, let me finish with the numbers. So currently we have 26,000 and change cases, almost 27, it's 26,900, almost 27,000. And that is the count so far from last March to this March, 1 year period. All right. No, I'm not so bothered by the 26,000. And when it get to 30, that won't be my concern. When it get to 35, it won't be mine, because that is just tracking the amount, the number of COVID cases we have had over time, cumulatively. What concerns me is really the number of active cases. And right now we're looking at 11,770 active cases that are, now of that 11,700, 250 are in hospital, right? So really and truly, it left at least, let me see, 11,500 out there, possible spreaders of COVID-19. That is a figure of concern. Them not in a hospital, and me don't know whether or not the government know exactly where them there. All right? And the COVID, as you see, is spreading rapidly. Now we have 215 hospital. That's the best number that I have. And the 250 who are in hospital, remember that they had told us that initially there were 360 bed spaces for COVID-19 in the island. Well, we have had the field hospitals coming on board. Well, at the very least, we have Falmouth Hospital that is now ready. After a whole heap of delay, Falmouth Hospital is now ready. But we don't want in the COVID thing. We don't want to be in the COVID thing. All right? So I'm going to play you a little clip because Julia has it lined up right now. We're going to play you a little clip coming from the Minister of Health and Wellness, and I will make a little comment and invite you to call 876-482-4944 or 876-317-1991 if you just want to discuss it. If you want to send us a text by WhatsApp or live text, send us a text and we'll talk about it. Those of you on Facebook, do. When you do it on Facebook, it's hard for us to maneuver doing all of the handling all of the technology here as we are, and then respond to you on Facebook. So if you just use up the number, I'll say the numbers again. Use them up, Facebook friends. 876-482-4944, and for WhatsApp only. For WhatsApp only, because we'll have callers on that line from time to time. And then 876-317-1991. 876-317-1991. That one you can call on, and you can do all kind of things on it. WhatsApp and everything, same way. All right? Again, let me just say Happy International Women's Day. People are vexed with me, but I say, come, I don't know. What Ernest Smith and say, nice song again. You have to play one more time as we fight one another for the power and the glory. How dare you talk the truth? You might not wake up the next morning. Yeah, all them kind of things. But I say go. Me too old for afraid. Yeah. Yeah, me too old for afraid. So I just say go. All right, so ready for the clip with the minister now?
Positivity rate with some 723 Jamaicans testing positive for the coronavirus. Let that sink in. Let it sink in that that positivity rate means that our hospitals are going to come under pressure, significant pressure. Let it sink in that our public health workers, our nurses, our doctors are going to find it very difficult to cope with those who come in and need medical care. Let it sink in that it means longer waits. It means persons having to suffer for longer periods before they can get a bed. And generally speaking, a health system that is going to experience significant stress and fatigue. Ladies and gentlemen, Jamaicans, the truth is we're not trying hard enough. I accept that the government has a responsibility, but let us be clear. A lot of the spread that is taking place in this country is because too many of us are ignoring the need for personal responsibilities. I just drove through Halfway Tree, and for every one person I saw in the center, only 10% were wearing their mask. That's 1 in 10. That's not good enough. It must sink into all of us that the government alone, the public health system alone, our nurses, our doctors alone, the cabinet of Jamaica alone cannot address this virus and its spread and the consequences that it will have on our people. It must sink in that 723 persons in one day, and more importantly, over 3 out of every 10 persons tested are positive, means that corona is right across the length of our population. It must sink in that if you continue to have the parties, the drink-ups, if you continue to ignore the protocols around gatherings, and you congregate and you don't wear the mask, then the chances of your getting the coronavirus are real, and the probability is increasing. And when you get to the hospital, the chances of your getting a bed is going to become less and less. Jamaicans, people will die. It's as simple as that. I am sorry if some persons are offended by this straight and plain talk, but I believe that it is very important that all of us appreciate and understand the consequences of our action. This is not an attempt to rid government of its responsibilities, contrary to what some may say or some may think. The truth is, we do not have enough policemen or soldiers to police every shop in Jamaica, to police every beach in Jamaica, to look over every single individual in this country. And it is downright unfair for persons to blame our public health officials, our public health team, our doctors and our nurses when they cannot get through at the hospital because they are there because they went to the party that they should not have gone to, or to the beach or the funeral that they shouldn't have congregated at, and have picked up the virus, and then they expect the government or the public health system to solve the problem. And if we don't do it, we get costs. So yes, I am saying 723, March 6, a 35.9% positivity rate. I really hope that will sink in. And it will sink in our consciousness to help us to understand the importance of personal responsibilities. You know, in many countries throughout the world, there is total lockdown when you have spread of this kind. This country, this government took the decision that people have to work. They have to go about their business. It is possible without spreading the virus if they obey the protocols. I say to you, too many of us are not. So 723 is a defining moment for us. And yes, I'm saying, let it sink in. And hopefully, in sinking in, many of us will understand why it is that we need to do better. We will continue to do what we must as a public health system, as a government. We will work hard to provide the beds, to ensure that the doctors are alert, to ensure that you get.
All right, so for the most part, you've heard what the minister had to say. Let me say unreservedly. No, this is not a Fit FM position. All we're going to say on COVID now. Fit, I mean, no, have no agreement for these expressions. This is Ed Wallace by himself. Notwithstanding, you're listening to Community Buzz. Firstly, I want to say about the minister 100% in his utterances. 100%. Yeah? What we're looking at, we're looking in that speech, we're looking at personal responsibility. We're looking at the political play in COVID, the politics of COVID, I call it. And we're looking at quite a few other things. And I'm going to try to deal with them one by one. In the minister's speech there, I am hearing a frustrated leader, a frustrated leadership of the health sector, right? Frustrated by what is happening in with our COVID situation, all right? We're looking, I am sensing a leader, a minister who is facing a resistant followership in relation to COVID-19, all right? But here's the deal now. Minister going to do a little bit of Monday morning quarterbacking, meaning hindsight has 2020. You see, when we started this COVID thing last March, and you and the Honorable Prime Minister were Teflon dons, couldn't do nothing wrong, nothing wrong. You know what you all neglected to do, and I think that would have helped now? If the praises that were being heaped upon the Prime Minister and the Minister of Health at the time were then returned to the people of Jamaica for good behavior. With at the time, you know, the Prime Minister was always in contact with the Jamaican people, giving us information at every step of the way. But just sharing the successes, those early successes with the people of Jamaica, you neglected to do it, and it is coming back to haunt us now. I didn't see it then, I just see it now. I mean, if anybody else seeing it as I say it, all right? But I believe that if you were telling the Jamaican people, yes, we are doing nicely, constantly remind them, we are doing nicely, we wouldn't be talking so much about the waywardness of the Jamaican people right now. It's just a belief. I have no empirical evidence, but that is why I say I gave the caveat that this is my opinion and have nothing to do with Fit FM. All right. So that is one. You all ate up the praise for yourselves, and then it became a political thing. And the truth of the matter is that we were heading into election too, so it wasn't very hard to eat up all that praise. It wasn't very hard at all. You would have been tempted. You have an election to win. And so you took the praise to yourself. When the criticism start rolling in now, you really have to take some of them, you know. Some of them unfair and unfortunate. I see them too. The $422 million what the opposition leak out against, that unfair and unfortunate, because many things say them count the possibility of body bags against the $422 million, right? You just said, the minister just said 1 out of 10 persons seem not to be following the COVID protocol, right? If that is the case, then we're really, really in trouble. If follow a ship, no, you're gone. Minister, I'm telling you something. Prime Minister, I'm telling you something. If you never get the memo yet, the honeymoon period done. That period of just all niceness and everything, that period is done. Story could go down to bump you now. right? And people are again frightened. Some people are again panicking, all right? And there are things that we could, and I say it all the while, Prime Minister, during the whole after 2016 election, one of the things that you attempted to do and did very well was to bring the Jamaican people into your confidence. You need to do it again. You need to do it again. Wholly for the things that were going in a COVID now with respect to the rules and the various sanctions, and we don't understand why, We, the Jamaican people, generally not understand why. And let me bring you a case in point. Ed Bartlett have to lick him to Minister of Tourism, right? Because we are a people of outcomes. You don't know that. We are a people of outcomes. How comes the tourism can do that and we can do it? How comes the tourism can go beach and we can do it? What makes it possible for the white people them go beach and we can go? You have to explain that. Right? Now, there's also a question. You lock down the country in a night, and there must be a rationale for lockdown at 8 o'clock. But you're right, people, them ask a question on the road. So, COVID not start in a day. You can catch COVID in a day. Right? These are little things that, if you know the Jamaican public any at all, you know that these questions are going to be asked. Right? You have so much. Then again, the Westminster politics, we can't even agree on anything from the two parties. So you want to know, again, Minister, you rightly did not take the vaccine from India pre-approval, pre-WHO approval. You correctly didn't take it. And then it comes to Parliament now, that, well, not just Parliament, but it comes into the politics that it was a mismanagement. Mismanaged, not Mr. Minister. When it comes to that, the one day mismanaged nothing. As I said last week, Air Jamaica pilot, them we love Air Jamaica, fly Air Jamaica when it was in existence, because we were sure that we were going to arrive. If the government of Jamaica take the position that we are going to be as safe can be, then all the politics will come in and try to damage that. What kind of thing that? Yeah? We'll spend 422 million to make sure. For Minister say 1 out of 10, enough that. Mr. 1 out of 3, only 1 out of 3 persons ready to take the COVID vaccine. We need to market it when it comes. We need to put it into play. Yeah? Because this 878 COVID case today, it's not going to stop if we're going to go on same way. So we really, when the minister say let it sink, that's another thing too. When the minister say let it sink in, let that sink in. Many people are complaining about what kind of address that, what kind of talk that to them. Let it sink in. We're going to die if we don't do something. Let that sink in. Our children, our mothers, our fathers, our sisters, our brothers will die if we don't do something. No, not all of us will die. But we're going to be impacted, and we're not going to feel it until it touch our own doorway. Let that sink in. Let that sink in. So, Minister, as I said about the speech 100%, but there are some areas of explaining to do, right? To this day, Mr. Bartlett seemed insistent and persistent with respect to the tourism product. And we cannot seem to we local Jamaicans having difficulty understanding it in this point in time. We know the economic value of tourism. Don't forget, don't believe that we don't respect the economic value. But the fact of the matter is, if we have sanctions, if we have protocols, Jamaican people are going to ask questions. How comes we can't go Broad Beach? Yeah? But people are on a hotel beach property. How comes? Yeah? So all of them things they need to explain. This Westminster style politics, I'm not knocking it. It's good kind of politics. It's two-party politics or multi-party politics. And I like it. It gives the freedom to the voter to make a decision. And then the demos speaks. The majority of the people speaks. And they will be done. Yeah? But we have to have responsible opposition. The other day, me hear Dr. Guy making some comments on COVID-19, and on the front end of COVID, you know, when it just started, I wasn't feeling him at all. But now that he has come down and he has seen what is happening with COVID, his line is supportive of a fight against COVID. But then we hear another senator talk about open the sports and complaining about the sports and with no real, it look like the two of them even consider together what they are talking about. This young person, right, is doing this kind of what should I say, populist politics for the sake of politics. Yeah, we have a crisis. Jamaica, we have a crisis. We cannot politicize COVID. We don't have no time for that. If you're PNP, it's gonna get you. If you're GLP, it's gonna get you. If we not behave right. It's simple. If we are Jehovah's Witness and we not behave right, it go and get we. If we are Baptist, Presbyterian, Pentecostal, Jew, it is going to catch us if we are careless, if we don't try hard. So we need to begin to really let that sink in. So whoever talk about minister speech never good because him address the people and say let that, it's a clear, frank talk, a talk that people need and needed long before now. So let that sink in. Now, the other thing I want to say about COVID and politics is that, again, it come back to the 422 million, because I can't understand that pullback of the 422 million. In this crisis, in this COVID crisis, you have to be brave, Prime Minister and Minister. You have to be brave. Public policy cannot be driven by public opinion. In this instant, it's too important. Remember, you have declared an emergency situation and ODPM emergency act and all of that kind of thing are enforced. It's not public for all intent and purpose. Remember, say some of we tied up this COVID thing now, and people are going to beach as them feel like, well, not as them feel like, lie. People are taking a yacht and go to Goat Island, go party on the beach and come back in, catch them thing and come back in. Yeah, you have other people that have them private party in the richer parts of the Jamaican what should I say, society. So you what now? The youth, I mean, I get to start take house stop from last year and do the underground party, right? We have to level the playing field. Every rule have to go for everybody. Yes, I understand that you not have enough police. We don't have enough soldiers for patrol everywhere. But no, some of them things you can't stop. Because if we make examples of some of the people who are breaching, especially the one who are always sure so they can't do anything and get away with it. Shoot a man in Times Square and get away with it. You need to cut them down. You need to put them down to size. That's another thing, as you say, Julia. Another double standard is you have been down market. Right? No, you couldn't have egg show. Right? No. And community health clinic, right? No, hear what I say. Mark you. There is no doubt a rationale for why egg show could not be held. Rationale for why the health clinic could not be held. But me telling the minister, me telling the administrators that we do not understand the rationale. And if we don't understand it, we not go and comply. We don't see it yet. Compliance come with understanding. The two are inextricably linked. So when you come out now and say, you can't keep because it's a one-day affair and the risk is not worth it. It is not necessary. Cool, we can understand that. Bend down is for people really and truly go get food. So if you were on lockdown, you have your one day out, bend down is it. But you need to follow these protocols. And then now you put in the security measures to ensure that people are following the rules as they traverse through bend down. The other thing is, when you look on bend down, double standard again, you know. Funeral a one day thing too. Few hours. And the cemetery them big. And a small cemetery. Bend down market big. But there's a big cluster. The cluster is always there. So why bend down and not funeral? You go to the state now where you ban funeral. Jesus and peace. In Jesus' name. In Jesus' name. I say, authorities, if we not going to work with you, if we don't understand you. I mean, I say me not work with you. I say we, the Jamaican people, no work so. We need to understand why we're doing what we're doing for the most part for you to get compliance. And I will not suggest to you that everybody will comply, but I'm suggesting to you that most will comply. I don't know if the heart's gone through the gate yet with respect to that, because right now, you know, two of my pointers me just look out there. So the politics of COVID and COVID and entertainment, social activities. Yeah. So, Mr. Bartlett, the other thing what you do to, you know, well, me look out against it from the day there, Mr. Bartlett. When you come with the insurance for the tourists, then we'll come to Jamaica that if they get if they catch COVID at Jamaica, my understanding of it, that if they catch COVID at Jamaica, there's an underwriting, there's a insurance policy that would deal with that that impact. And again, the Jamaican people ask, how comes you put in all of them stops there for them people? Remember too, when you wanted the ship to land at Ochi, and people have a ball out and say, no, what kind of thing this? Yeah? No, you perhaps have a rationale, you're perhaps right, but you can't do it without we understand. Compliance and understanding walk hand in hand. Again, they're inextricably linked when you come to this crisis that we're facing. Yeah? No. The power and the glory. Where the music there? Power and the glory. Power and the glory. Power and the glory. Because in a minute I'm gonna come right back because we're not done yet. That are part of the politics, I think. Yeah? For the most part, the politics. Frustrated leadership and resistant followership. Alright? So we're gonna come with COVID and the church and some other little things. All right, get right back to you. We're on Fit FM 96.7, your life, your music. You're tuned into Community Buzz with Ed Wallace, the troublemaking one. Medea.
Right now, we hands are tied behind the back, while circle people, if and but in. Where do we stand? We have too far to go, not to really know just how we get in there. And if we're getting anywhere, we have too much to change, not to know the range of possibility. Unchangeability. Violence and crime is commonplace in these said times. No man walk free. Prophecy come closer to fulfillment in these dread times. Why should this be? And as we fight one another for the power and the glory, Jah kingdom goes to waste, and every drop of blood we tears. I feel we won this grace, yeah. I feel we won this grace. Can't build no foundation on a if and but. Are we building a nation or are we building a hut? And every time you ask for some old friend, You hear said just last night, we meet a sad, sad end. And if you talk too loud, and if you walk too proud, watch where you lay your head. For all that dread, well dread, can't build no dreams on a fuss and fight. We no care who I do it, just say that no right. And as we fight one another for the power and the glory.
Yes, fighting one another for the power and glory. We just can't go on, so if we are build country, you have often heard me say on this program that my vision of Jamaica is for years from now that we're talking about the Jamaican civilization, much in the way that we would have spoken about the Roman civilization, the Greek civilization, etc., etc., etc. We have to have ambition for our country. We have to have ambition for our country. And I say, you know, boy, I have to talk. Minister, I have to talk. I have to talk. All right, so chances are you've also heard that one nurse died from COVID at KPH, and the circumstance is quite tragic given what was reported in the news and what was reported from her family. The fact of the matter is, as I said earlier on, COVID can take anybody. COVID can take anybody, and it includes now the nurse. So this is my segue now to dealing with COVID with respect to health. What are we most afraid of with respect to COVID? Gunmen are killing whole heap of people. Whole heap of people are dead left, right, and center by virtue of the murders that we face. We have cancers there around still, and we have all sorts of illnesses still taking out people. So what is this issue with COVID? To the best of my understanding, the issue with COVID, my fellow Jamaicans, is that COVID has the capacity to just disable our whole health system. Just cripple it, so that all the cancers, all the asthmas, all the heart attack, all the other things that we're dealing with, our health services are so overwhelmed that it can't be dealt with. And so here what you have happening now: death by COVID without catching COVID. Death by COVID. And I explained this to you one time already, listeners, that if you have a motor vehicle accident right now, and people have to sit down in Chira Hospital for 2-3 days, you know what I'm saying now? Let that sink in. No, seriously. Let that sink in. So you have your good self, and the only thing what happen to you is that you have a little accident, and then you call hospital and can't get no treatment, can't get no bed, because the hospital full up and a COVID patients full it up. You have a near-death situation, you never have a dead, but because the hospital services are overwhelmed by COVID, your mother dead, your father dead, your child die of asthma. And that seemed to have recently happened in Kingston with a 16 or 17-year-old who died. So the implications for COVID is not just that, COVID can become the common cold for all intent and purpose, It can become the common cold. But if the whole of we catch COVID, we don't have no space in the hospital for anything else. And COVID, we can slow the rate of infection. We can slow it. All we have to do is to continue to utilize the protocol, the safe distances, the isolation, the hand washing, the wearing of the mask, and turn your yard. That's what we need to be doing, So to the extent that we can do these things, so we're putting, if I was watching a video, what you just heard of the minister was actually a video. And when you see Christopher Tufton's face, sweet boy, pretty boy to most women in the country and who vote for him, he's stressed out. And believe you me, unless a minister did not care 1 ounce, me no business who was minister, he would have stressed out same way, because it's the same problem they would have to deal with. And don't make nobody fool you that anybody have no magic one or no better way of treating COVID, because the truth of the matter is, and I'm going to come back to something with Mr. Tufton too. Truth of the matter is, all of us are learning on the same learning curve when it comes to COVID. We are learning same time, same day, all the way. It's just that more of us are less concerned about learning about COVID than the experts. Right? So the implications for COVID on our health system is the biggest argument why we want to be careful and be wary of COVID and to do all we can not to allow the place to become infested with COVID in such a way that it overwhelms our health system. There's another thing happening with COVID and health. No, let me back up. Yeah. No, so I kind of touch on it, but you must be hearing the horror stories of the experiences in the hospital. Know that the Falmouth Field Hospital is ready. I am hoping that we all are hoping that some of the pressure can come off, but that can fall up too. Right? That can fall up too. And remember that we're not just serving Falmouth. We're serving Trelawney and we're serving St. James. The people from the overflow from the capacity of Cornwall Regional Hospital. I saw them out end up. So it don't take long for follow up. Right? So I don't know what kind of warning we want. Why are we not allowing this to sink in? Why are we? No, I tell you, Minister, there are some things that must sink in with you too. And the same double standards and double argument with burial. I see Desmond Mackenzie now, Minister Mackenzie, is going to be lobbying the government to revisit the idea of the no burial order. Yeah? One person, and I said it last week, that it would seem that the government has no understanding of how to deal with people and their losses. No understanding. And when you start to set up a situation where, God forbid, bodies may have to start spoiling before burial, that not go on so good. That not go on so good. So you really have to lift. Oh, just to get this piece of news, the COVID Shield AstraZeneca vaccines have arrived at Norman Randley International Airport this afternoon and were received in collaboration with myself, Minister of Health and Wellness, Dr. Christopher Tufton. So this is Andrew Wellness. So HPM went out to meet the first allotment of COVID-19 vaccine with the Minister of Health, the Minister of Foreign Affairs and Trade. This lady, I respect and love this lady, Camilla Johnson. Yeah, man. Johnson Smith. Yeah. Her father is to me a kind of a Governor General kind of a personality. I don't know what is happening with him. I don't even know if he passed. And His Excellency wrong song, and I can call your name. Massacre you. I say go? Close? All right, cool. I confess, I'm not a public reader. And so it is in. Maybe I shouldn't go back to this one because I was going to touch on this one. But, Minister, no do it again. Politics in a distinct, and politics can corrupt everything. So when you have ship a sea, where you not have no control over, no put no deadline on it as to when ship a land. Because the first time you did it and we missed the deadline, it make you look kind of washy. So rather than, if you can avoid giving any time span less than a month, utilize that as much as possible rather than go down to the day. Because it kind of, there are many, as old people say, there are many slips between the cup and the lip. So you might not want to do that. So now, we did the hospital and we're going with the hospitals. We're down to the vaccine. I'm still now left with 422 million. When a man like Buju Banton come out and talk about the COVID fighting effort in the way that he spoke about it, when an athlete at the caliber of Ewan Blake come out and say him not take no vaccine, him prefer no go Olympics, we're really in trouble. I said it already. 1 in 3 of the persons that I talked to said him not take no vaccine. So we really have a whole long struggle to overcome. We have the power of the vaccine, which you may have been here with me last week when Dr. Andrea Thorpe spoke to us and said, even if it is only 40% good, then that is more good than no good at all. So we have people still wondering and resisting. Now, where the resistance coming from? You have conspiracy theorists who say Bill Gates will try do a thing. You have other conspiracy theorists saying that it is a ploy to get rid of population control, to deal with some population control. That is a mountain we have to climb. Then we have some religious leaders who believe in a prayer and prayer only. That's another mountain to climb. Right? So we have a whole lot of elements that would cause the people of Jamaica, or some people in Jamaica, to want to back off taking the vaccine. Eventually, everybody might have to take it when I say. But no, we can't wait until everybody dead off. So I'm saying to the minister and to the prime minister, put out 422 million and add some more upon it because we're going to need it. Again, that is my view. We're going to need it. We're up for a strong battle to overcome this COVID fear of vaccine. Now remember, Jamaica now have a very big problem with needle narcotics. I mean, injecting drugs in your system. Because for the most part, most Jamaicans afraid of needle. I said that to say this. You introduce a vaccine into the body with a needle. And if people feel say them not to take a needle, they're not coming near the needle either. So that got to take on all the education and overcoming. Some may feel say the 422 is even less than reasonable. We might need to up it. So the government has to be brave in that regard. Right? Thank God the vaccines have arrived. I'm going to trust my doctors. You know, there are other things that I could have said, but again, I don't want to throw cold water on the efforts. So let's look at all these issues and let's begin to try to understand COVID and what we're looking at. I'm getting a signal, so I'm gonna take a break right now. For wrap up? That's the time fly fast this evening, man. We have 5 minutes to wrap up. All right, let me quickly go through this now. COVID and religion. Government, we need to determine how we're going to handle the faith-based community. When we say religion in Jamaica, we generally say churches and we generally say the Christian church. But we have more than that in Jamaica. We have people in the Obia thing, revival thing, the Pentecostal thing, the Baptist thing, the Presbyterian thing, you have the traditional thing, you have the Catholic thing and all of that. All of that is going on. The Jehovah's Witnesses, the Seventh-day Adventists, and now everybody have a different belief. Right? Now, the question has to be asked because a pastor was arrested over the weekend, and not for the first time. Another pastor was arrested in Portmore, St. Catherine at one time for breach of the COVID thing. I never really studied our constitution go with religious rights. But are we having a constitutional conflict with respect to religious rights, religious freedom, and the fight in this COVID time? We need to look at that and we need to talk to the faith-based people. I am not in for any church and state relationship that make us look like a theocracy. But that don't say the church community must not be involved in the whole consideration for how we fight COVID. And so we need to begin to look at that, because if the church rebel or any part thereof, if the faith-based community rebels or any part thereof, the problem is going to only become bigger. It is only going to become bigger. And it can come bigger in a lot of sense. In 64 AD or thereabout, early down, before Constantine, Christians took to the catacombs, underground burial areas, to go do worship. Let us not create a modern day catacomb if we don't have to. Already we are sending the partygoers underground. Sending people of faith underground cannot be a good thing. And let me tell you what we're fighting with in terms of faith-based people. For the first thing is that faith-based people believe that healing comes through God. You are the lock down in church when they go to them God, believing that they're going to get their healing. How are we going to do that? How are we going to? And you can't tell them not, because some believe that if it is God's will, they will die. And that I think with faith, don't we know? That is the thing with faith. When somebody says they have faith, it's not easy to overcome with governmental edicts. So we have to begin to talk. We have to start a different approach with the people of faith. Because although we have technology, the Instagram, what else we have? What else we have? All social media, the Facebook and the YouTube and although we can have them live services, faith-based people and especially Christians and especially people like Pentecostals and all those sorts, the new Protestants, these media do not provide the level of spiritual intimacy that they desire. And that spiritual intimacy can only for them be had in fellowshipping at church. Worship don't feel the same online to these Jamaican people of faith. And so we are going to have to sit and address that with them, lest they go underground or resist upfront in such a way that we have anarchy as a spin-off. The same thing is in entertainment, and I spoke about the athletes and everybody already. Talk about tourism. We talk about the conspiracy theorists. Our solution, Jamaican people, while the government tried to grapple with this, and as Minister said, we all have to be involved in this fight. Government alone can't do it like everything else. Then we take the credit for doing it if it is achieved and when it's done. But when it go bad, them say, no, the whole of we must do it. I'm saying to you, do what we need to do to save ourselves and families. Until vaccine come your way, keep up the protocol. Stay at home. Wash your hands. Sanitize your hands. Wear your mask. And keep your social distancing. I think we have come to the end of our day's program. I want to thank you for sitting in with us and listening. I hope you enjoyed the program as much as I did. And Julia seemed to have enjoyed it too. And to thank you. And we pray, God, that we have the privilege of next week. Thank you so much. You were saying something, Joe? Oh, Donovan. Yeah, man. Big up Donovan. Oh, could I forget? Thank you. Big up Donovan. And God willing, we'll live to talk another day. So we say, salute. God willing, next week.
For the power and the glory, the kingdom goes to waste. We the people want to know just where